Your boy Calix Boxing here. We are now live. You're tuned in to Calix Boxing. Hit that sub button for nightly boxing videos, and thanks to all the new subscribers. Shout out to y'all, man. Unfortunately, we're going to be talking about a topic tonight that was a complete travesty. Andre Ward versus Alexander Brand. What a terrible what a terrible fight that was. And to be quite honest, I didn't end up catching most of it. I didn't even plan on catching the fight. I actually had other stuff going on, and ended up getting home right as the fight started. Caught the first 3 rounds and saw where it was going, and I started dozing off. And I'm not even trying to be funny by saying that. I just could not keep my eyes open, and was ready to tap out. But I put on, I had Power DVR, so I started watching Power for about a half hour, and then clicked back onto the fight because I was interested in seeing if Andre Ward was actually going to stop this guy. And I clicked back on. It was the 10th round, and I could not believe that this guy was still in there with Andre Ward. I mean, dude, it's incredible. This fight, Alexander Brand, I don't think people understand this. I don't think people quite understand it. This guy was a 100-1 underdog. And the reason I call this a travesty is because fights like this should not be on HBO. I don't understand why people can't grasp this. There should not be sparring session. This is a sparring session. Like Alexander Brand is a guy you fly into town for a couple $100 to get some rounds of sparring with some headgear and 16-ounce gloves on. This is not HBO caliber stuff. You should not be airing a fight on prime time. Like, you should not be taking $1 million out of your budget plus to air a fight that's 100-1 odds. And what the hell is that? This has been one of the worst buildups to a big fight I have ever seen in my life. All right. Kovalev has gone about it the right way by fighting guys who have awkward styles, who sort of emulate what Andre Ward does. Chilemba, yes, he didn't look good against Chilemba, but HBO didn't point this out late in the fight that at least he fought a guy with an awkward style. Chilemba's the guy who's awkward, and he's at least a guy who's flirting with the top 10. Brand hasn't even fought at 175. Nobody's heard of the guy. He's a 100-1 underdog. He literally fought tonight for a $30,000 payday. $30,000. When's the last time you saw a guy? Let me ask you a question. Maybe you guys can put it in the comment section. When's the last time a guy has fought for a $30,000 payday on an HBO main event? Even in a HBO Boxing After Dark, when he used to do HBO Boxing After Dark cards, even were those guys even getting paid as little as $30,000? This guy and he fought in California. So after you take the federal taxes, after you take California raping you, and you pay your trainer, you pay your cut man, you pay your manager, you pay your promoter, this dude's going to see like $8,000 for fighting Andre Ward, and he went 12 rounds. How in the hell does this guy go 12 rounds? Dude, something's off with that. All right, when you're not willing to, and even Hopkins was the only one who was actually being real and having real talk there, because Lampley and Max Kellerman, they're going to toe the company line. They're company guys. They're going to push Andre Ward. They're going to try to build up this fight in November. And they're not going to call it what it is. Bernard Hopkins is like, he should have got this guy out of here 3 or 4 rounds ago. He's like, I cannot believe. Basically, he's saying, I cannot believe this guy's still in there with Andre Ward. You got to step up your output. You got to let the conservative stuff go to the side, and you got to step up your output and get this guy. And people are going to say, oh, well, the fight's in 3 months. You don't want to get cut, blah, blah, blah. It's Alexander Brand. But what I'm getting off topic because whatever he would have done tonight, it still doesn't matter. It's still Alexander Burns. We're not going to find out anything in this fight. All right. So even if he doesn't knock him out, he's going to show up in November against Kovalev. We're going to get the best Kovalev. We're going to get the best Andre Ward. You can say what you want about the Chilembo fight. You can say what you want about the Brand fight tonight. You're going to get the best of both guys in November. All right. My issue with Ward is in this buildup, he's saying, I need tune-ups to get ready for Kovalev. And then tonight, they asked him in the post-fight interview, do you think you're ready for him now? And he said, I've been ready since I was my whole life, since I was 12 years old. Well, if you were ready, why not fight him 2 fights ago? If you've been ready all that time. And I just think he's been stealing paychecks, getting these tune-ups, and finally, after a 4-year hiatus, basically, of Andre Ward, we're going to see him in there with a guy with a pulse. And how, and it's once again, this pound for pound stuff just drives me insane, how a guy can fight nobodies and not even fight, but when he does fight nobodies for 4 years and still find himself at the top of pound for pound rankings is beyond me. I'll never get it. I'll never understand it. And I'll never understand how these pound for pound lists make any sense when that can happen on a global scale, because everybody's got them top 5 pound for pound. So obviously I'm the idiot. But I guess we're just going off of potential. So he can go on a 10-year hiatus. If he comes back 10 years from now, he'll still be pound for pound based off potential, right? So whatever. The good news is we get Ward versus Kovalev finally in November. Probably the best fight that can be made in boxing right now. 50-50 fight. I give the slight edge to Kovalev. As does Bernard Hopkins, from what he was saying in the post fight. I was reading something earlier. Ring Magazine said that this is the 3rd time since they've been doing pound for pound rankings that they've had 2 top 5 pound for pound fighters who are undefeated fighting each other. The other 2 were Meldrick Taylor and Chavez Sr. and De La Hoya versus Trinidad. So big fight. Whether it do pay-per-view numbers, I don't know. Like I said, this has been a terrible buildup. This buildup did nothing to get casuals prepared for this fight. It didn't do anything to introduce casuals to these fighters. So I'm not sure with the pay-per-view numbers. They really did themselves a disservice with this buildup. They really did themselves a disservice. But as far as hardcore boxing fans like us, this is the biggest fight that can be made in boxing. It's the best fight. Maybe not the biggest, but the best fight that can be made in boxing. Great matchup. And hopefully the casuals can cling on to it. So this can also be a big event as well. Because this might be one of those fights as far as the hardcore fight fans, pay-per-view, great fight, but it doesn't do too many pay-per-view buys. I would lean towards that. But hopefully I'm wrong about that and the casuals cling to this fight. But let's see. Leave in the comment section below what y'all think about this fight. I thought this is one of the worst HBO main events that I've ever witnessed, and just terrible all around for HBO. And it's been a terrible year for them. But November is coming. The skies are going to go from black to a little bit gray this fall, and then we get November for this fight, and hopefully it lives up to the expectations. And let me know. Let's start talking about it. Let's start the dialogue. Who do y'all think is going to win this fight? I'll drop many videos about this fight coming up in November to give my predictions, my breakdowns, my previews, and we'll be chatting it up. So hit me up. Let me know what y'all think about Ward versus Kovalev is coming. Oh, yeah.